Shark horror movies are one of my favorite genres, and a few years ago, quite a few years ago, they were incredibly popular. Sure, there was a great deal of slop and terrible CGI, but that did not necessarily make the movies bad. There was a certain charm to them, and some even got it right and were outright terrifying. In recent years, however, the charm is completely gone, and hardly any modern day shark horror movies get it right to be terrifying. So welcome to Rotten Damians. This is why modern day shark horror movies suck. The two issues are, the shark isn't the main villain anymore, and they try to be too deep. First, let's look at some good examples, like Jaws. There is a subplot of a corrupt mayor, however the main focus is on the shark. Ultimately, it follows three misfits who hunt down and try to kill one specific shark. The mayor is a villain, but not the villain. The shark is the main focus.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Deep Blue Sea. Again, there is a subplot of the sinking scientific premises. However, the sharks are the main focus. I mean, they even introduce us to each shark individually and tell us about the experiments done on them, which gives the sharks some character and makes them the main villain. The sinking premises only adds tension. Now let's take a look at some modern day flops.
You ate my bird.
Deep Fear. The movie follows Naomi, who is sailing across the ocean to meet her boyfriend. On the way, her ship is boarded by a group of gangsters and she's forced to go diving in shark-infested waters to retrieve their Coca-Cola. The premise sounds somewhat promising, but the problem is that the sharks are not the focus. They are used to add tension, rather than becoming the main villain. The real villain is the gangsters threatening her to go into shark-infested waters. That's all great, but then the movie shouldn't be marketed as a shark horror movie. It should be marketed as an action suspense movie that just so happens to feature sharks. No Way Up. This movie was basically snakes on a plane, but with sharks. It was sharks on a plane. The movie follows a group traveling to a holiday resort by airplane, when they suddenly crash land in the middle of the ocean. Many survive and the plane sinks to the floor of the ocean, where it lands on a slope. This causes the plane to gradually slide down into deeper and deeper water. Oh, and they're surrounded by sharks.
I'm in danger!
The plot reminds me of Deep Blue Sea, with a race against time before the plane sinks. However, again, the sharks are not the main focus. They are only used to add suspense. The main villain or focus is the sinking ship. The sharks just happen to be there. Deep Blue Sea worked because we were introduced to the sharks individually, making a connection with them and allowing them to become a convincing villain. These movies are labeled as shark horror movies, but they're not. They are action survival movies that just so happen to feature a shark. That's where they fall short. They forget about the sharks. At the end of the day, if the sharks aren't the main focus, then is it really a shark horror movie? Secondly, they try to be too deep. Let's take a look at some good examples once again. Jaws. The movie knows exactly what it is, a shark horror movie. It does not try to be overly deep by using the shark as a metaphor to confront trauma. It's three guys who hunt a shark. The deepest theme they comment on is a corrupt mayor. Deep Blue Sea. Again, the movie knows what it is. It's a group of scientists escaping a shark-infested scientific lab in the middle of the ocean. The deepest theme they comment on is the ethics of artificially growing a shark's brain to cure brain diseases like Alzheimer's. The main point I'm trying to make here is that apart from the sharks, these movies only feature one bonus deeper theme. They do not dilute the plot by having hundreds of themes. Now the bad examples. Something in the Water. This movie is basically Jaws meets Bridesmaids. It follows a group of ladies who travel to a remote island to celebrate one of their friends who is getting married. They go exploring and accidentally hit a coral reef, which causes the boat to sink and leaves them in shark-infested waters. Once again, the plot sounds promising, but now listen to all the themes it features. It introduces the theme that the protagonist was attacked due to her sexuality, which causes her to have anxiety, her relationship to end, and to struggle to function in everyday life. She then uses the survival of the shark attack as a metaphor to overcome her trauma, rid her anxiety, and rekindle her relationship. They are trying to do too much. The meaning of the movie gets muddled by the overuse of themes and a weak metaphor. No Way Up. Revisiting sharks on a plane. You are not ready for the amount of themes they throw into this movie. They are: the protagonist is battling the loss of her mother, the bodyguard is battling the loss of the protagonist's mother, her boyfriend thinks her family controls her life, One of her friends has trauma of nearly drowning, and the worst part is that this is not even half of the emotional themes that this movie discusses. Once again, they are trying to do too much, which causes the movie to become shallow, pun intended, and ultimately a flop. The exception. Like with everything in life, there is always an exception to the rule. And two movies come to mind that break all of these rules and still succeed: Dangerous Animal and Shark Night 3D. Dangerous Animal has the deeper theme of the protagonist overcoming her abandonment issues. Shark Night 3D has the theme of the protagonist overcoming her guilt for abandoning her family and small town for a better life. Both feature promising villains apart from the sharks. Dangerous Animal has Tucker, who has to be the greatest shark horror movie villain of all time. He is super convincing and fun. Shark Night 3D has two villains who are also convincing and fun. What makes them work is that apart from the shark, they both have one deeper theme, and they individually introduce the villains to us, creating a connection and a compelling backstory. They don't feature hundreds of themes, causing the movie to become a piece of piss. We need connection and clear emotional beats. In my opinion, that is why modern day shark horror movies suck. Will I stop watching them? Absolutely not. Even the worst of the worst shark horror movie is somewhat enjoyable. For me, at least. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, why not subscribe and click on one of the suggested videos on the screen. YouTube really thinks you will enjoy them. See you soon.